Hello, and welcome to the second official episode of TKO Stigma. This is the talk series where we knock out stigma with open conversation. What is stigma? Stigma is a false, negative view surrounding mental health and mental health issues. And the way to get past it is by talking about it so people know that they're not alone. And here to help us do that is my second official guest, Leo from Lorias Boxing. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing great. Awesome. I've never been better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clear and clear. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here, for being part of the show. Your name is Leo. You are a boxing coach.
Yep.
But why don't you tell the people who are tuning in now just a little bit about yourself? Let them know where you're coming from.
Okay, so again, Leo, I'm a boxing coach. I've been boxing for 14 years. Did amateurs for the first 7 and then did it as fitness later on the later half. I've been coaching for 13 years. It's been such a long time. I'm trying to make sure I have all my dates correct.
That's okay. The numbers aren't that important, you know?
For sure. Yeah, born and raised in Brooklyn, so I'm from the city. Ungentrified Brooklyn as well, which I will talk about when we get to that part. And yeah, I mean, I'm an educator at heart. I got a pencil to represent that.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, for sure. Educator at heart. I love boxing. Boxing is my passion. Teaching is my passion. Education is my passion, and the youth.
Awesome. And you're rolling all those things together, right? You're putting all your passions together.
We're putting
That's
it all
what I'm
together.
doing out here, man.
For sure.
I feel you.
For sure.
Good stuff. So, yeah, the reason why we do this is one of the series. We have a couple different series. One of them we share mental health tools. That's called Staying Alive. But this one is about breaking down that stigma in our society surrounding mental health issues. And I know we spoke a little bit before, and you had mentioned how boxing had helped you a bit, and how, that this is a relevant issue. This is something that's pretty much an epidemic in our society. Anxiety and depression have been an epidemic even before COVID, and now even more so with everything that's going on. So the stigma around it is what's preventing people from talking about it and getting the help that they need. So this show is here to address that. So that being said, I wanted to ask you our first official question. Are you ready?
For sure. Go ahead.
All right. So what are some forms of stigma that you've experienced in your life journey?
That's a great question. I had to write it down because I can go off so many places. But just right off the bat, I know that just where I'm from, where I come from, where my parents are from, my parents immigrated from Mexico to the United States. My mother had me when she was in her mid to late 20s. I don't recall the exact age. And growing up as a Mexican American was a challenge in itself, and I didn't really quite understand it or really see the challenges until I started getting older, when I started going to school, hanging out with friends, seeing folks at the park. And then it was around middle school where being Mexican, even though I was going to school with a bunch of Mexicans, being Mexican was like its own little stigma. We were like the butt of every joke. There was a lot of like wetback jokes.
Yeah.
There was we call them la migra, which is just like a slur, if you will, for just like officers who are out to get immigrants. So whenever we were playing kickball during recess, we would hype each other up by saying, once you get the shit out that ball, run to first base like if the goddamn migra was after you. We were like, yeah, right on. So, so we would I mean, we were kids. We were extremely ignorant over a lot of the bullshit we were saying back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, but on the other side, you know, there was just a lot of bullying
Yeah.
revolving my identity. You know, like, you're Mexican, you got to run fast. Or the first question, you know, whenever kids at recess or on the block or at the park, one of the first things they would ask me is like, are you really good at soccer? Do you like boxing? It was always those two sports. Like, it's either you played soccer or boxing. And like, coincidentally, whatever, if that's even a word, but it's funny because I really enjoy soccer and you know, I've been boxing for such a long time.
Hey, I enjoy soccer and boxing too. So
Yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily
if anything, they're both great. They're both great. They just work together, right? Because of the road work. I mean, I was playing soccer in my senior year of high school while I was training for the gloves, the Golden Gloves. And, you know, it was perfect. You know, my coach was like, at the time, I have so many identities too, right? So when I was training, I was junior at the gym. So my coach was like, Junior, whatever you do, don't get hurt, because if you sprain your ankle or break something, that's it. Your chances of getting in the gloves or being in the tournament is over.
Yeah.
So
it's a very physically demanding thing, and you have a limited window where you can be like on top when it comes to boxing and soccer. Both.
For sure.
Know.
So again, it's like, and whenever we would play soccer, I mean, I guess that's where like the positive side came from it, where they were like, all right, well, I want Junior, I want Leo on my team because he's Mexican, he has it in his blood, we're gonna win no matter what. So you know, at the time, it was like, oh, okay, I feel good, but again, you know, as I've gotten older, I realized, Jesus, that's bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously you can easily flip that and it could become a target of like bullying and just like being negative.
And I don't have that experience because I'm white and I grew up in a predominantly white area. So it wasn't, I didn't have that kind of like any kind of racial stigma attached to my identity. I was teased for other things like not being the fastest or something like silly things, but nothing tied to my culture or my skin color. So I have no idea what that's like. There's no way for me to know. But I'm very happy to have you here to share that experience, to let other people know what you've been through, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that can benefit from your perspective.
Absolutely. So. And again, when you reached out to me, I was super excited to jump on because I'm right there with you, building the awareness for everyone.
Let me ask you this, though. Did you feel like growing up with your culture, with your background, did you feel like you had pressure from your parents or from your culture to maintain a strong kind of what is considered a masculine lifestyle? Did you feel like you had that pressure coming in?
Absolutely. My dad, and this was through many therapy sessions, I didn't realize how much my dad f***ed me up. And I've learned so many behaviors through my dad that I was carrying through all of my like romantic relationships. Because this was ungentrified Brooklyn, you know, where it was a lot of gang violence, a lot of drug dealing. There was also that side where I had to put up that front, if you will, and that's why I got involved with certain folks who were involved in that life, and it was hard for me. It was difficult for me to balance that because at home I was such a great kid and I was extremely respectful to my parents up until my parents got divorced. And then like the police sirens are like triggering. It's perfect that we're talking about this right now, right? No, it's all good. It's all good. I love it. It's perfect timing. And then, and then like
that's live, man. I can't control that stuff.
And then I would be out and about, you know, just with friends. And again, like those police sirens was just like, it was normal. We heard it all the time. So we didn't feel any kind, no, we weren't threatened by it. It was just our way of life, and it just became normal to see folks fighting on the corner of the block, or like we would walk into the projects and again, like the fights, we'd see like the drug dealing, when we go into the projects. And, you know, this like one thing that really stands out to me, it's just like the piss that's all over the place, the piss that's in the elevators. I'm trying not to deviate so much from the question, but yes, I did feel an enormous amount of pressure of being extremely masculine, right? And that was one thing, that's probably, if anything, that's one of my biggest stigmas, if you will, that I struggled with the most, because I understand that I'm a man, right? And I do consider myself I don't know the exact terminology, but I'm a cisgender man. And sometimes I allow myself to express myself very freely and openly. And I know to some it might be perceived as very feminine, and that's not a problem at all.
That should not be a problem.
And it shouldn't.
It shouldn't be a problem. It's unfortunately that is the stigma that we're trying to break out here. That's part of it. It's that people view it like there's this one specific way that a man should be, and they've started to deem it toxic masculinity, because it's actually preventing us from being who we are. It's preventing us from being real out here. And who wants to live with a bunch of fake people, right? Who wants to live in a world where we're not telling each other the truth? We're causing all kinds of communication problems because nobody knows what you want. Nobody knows how you feel. And we're all just guessing at what it is. And we've got this, most of the time, we've got this crazy, like one narrow-minded, boxed-in view of what a man should be. And if it doesn't conform to that, we generate all kinds of new problems in our heads. That like all of it, it's just like a downhill slope. So that's that old mentality. Try to break away from that, be as real as possible. And I think a lot of this, what we're doing right now, like having this conversation, also what we do out there when we put ourselves out there and we be open, lets people know it's okay, that they're not alone, that everybody has an individual journey. So that's really cool stuff. You definitely should not be ashamed of who you are and being genuine. I personally sorry to cut you off. I like when I meet genuine people and make genuine friendships based on who they are, not who they're pretending to be, you know? So thanks for being you. Thanks for being open and honest, you know?
Thank you for allowing me to be open and honest and creating a space for it. And I wanted to add on to what you were saying earlier. It shouldn't be a problem, but because that was seen as a problem within my family, that's like the root of all of my anger, especially my anger and my depression and my confusion. Because growing up, I was like, I have a lot of feelings right now, but I can't express it because if I start crying, my dad is going to say, man up, like you're going to be fine. Or if I cry to my friends, everyone out there is going to be like, man, Leo, like shut the f up, stop being pussy and just like man up. You know, it was always about manning up. And I knew that was a problem because I don't look like your typical man, you know, and that's another thing that I wanted to mention within the stigma is just my physical attributes. I'm like my height, I'm short, I'm only 5'5". I'm skinny, I'm a pretty slim dude. And that's obviously something because, you know, when I think of like, and I'm probably guilty of it too, but, you know, when I just instinctually, when I start thinking about man, I'm like, okay, tall, buff, you know, and I'm like the complete opposite. Just like my disability, you and I that we both share, right? Like we wear eyeglasses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing.
Yeah. And that's, people don't see it that way, but technically it is a disability for the both of us that we need eyeglasses in order for us to see. So as a boxing coach, and I'm going to shift the conversation a little bit, as a boxing coach and just as a boxer alone, I was never talented. I had to work hard for for what I have and for the
Yeah.
skill set that I have now. So I had to make up for being short. I had to make up for being a small kid. I had to make up for having eyeglasses. So whenever I would get asked, like, Junior, Leo, whenever, like, when you spar, do you spar with your glasses on? I'm like, hell no, I take them off, but I got Eye of the Tiger when I'm in there.
Yeah.
So it's on. And like those stigmas are always with me. They're always with us wherever we go. When I was teaching, so before this, I was a teacher for 3 years as a special education high school teacher in the South Bronx. An amazing time. I loved it, and I'll always be grateful for that time period in my life. I've learned so much, and I know that because of what I was going through and the cultures that I was going through was very similar to what my kids were going through, you know? And then talking about stigmas, I jump into the classroom. I'm like literally jumping in because at that point I was just like, yo, live your truth, live your best life. And that was what Mr. Lorias is all about. So I jumped into the classroom and my kids were like,
Hang on one second. I just want to address some of these comments because some people are leaving. We're going to hit depression and stigma from every angle possible. That's the goal out here.
That's right.
And to Becca Bookleaf, she mentioned glasses are cute. So you got two sides, right? Thank you, Becca. We got two sides to everything, every situation where you may have the negative stigma coming in and people saying, it makes you, weaker because your vision is somewhat degenerative, which so many people have degenerative vision. It's crazy, but then the other side is some girls think they're cute, So what are you going to do? There's a pro and a con out here.
Sure.
It's whatever we make it.
For sure.
Whatever we make it, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So that's it. Addressing the comments. Just don't want to miss anybody out there.
Yeah.
And then if you're not too far off track, if you could jump back into where you want to go.
Zoom. So we're jumping right back into the classroom.
Yeah. So you were being yourself. You came into the classroom. You want to be yourself. You want to express yourself.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Because I understand that that's what a lot of my kids needed. They needed role models. And role models that were about it. And when I say about it, I mean like they were practicing what they preached.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of my kids, even like the adults in my life, they would say one thing and then do the opposite. Or they would promise me one thing. Or say something and be like, you can't do this, but yet they're doing the same thing. So that's also confusing. For sure. So here I am, Mr. Lorias, jumping into these classrooms, and these kids, they were like, well, who is this guy? Again, he's like 5'5". He's a man, but he wears a pink watch. He has an earring, eyeglasses, very small. And we got to listen to this kid. Because, granted, like these kids, my kids, they're very used to the very opposite of what I was just talking about earlier in the discussion, where my kids, the definition or just like what they see as a man is someone who's taller, muscular, probably has a very deep voice and has like a very rough and raw demeanor to them. And I could see one of the comments here, forgive me, brother Becca Boakleaf, this dude is so relaxing. Yes, to your point, champ. Here I am jumping in, very relaxed. Doing my best to articulate every thought, right? And that was another stigma in itself, just my ability to articulate and talk to the kids. But I wanted them to realize that that's a whole other topic, for sure.
Being well articulated.
Being well articulated is good. There's a whole nother conversation about race that's involved that I just learned about that I don't want to dive too deeply into because then we're going to keep going past the hour, right?
Yeah.
But that's what the kids noticed, Yeah. And then whenever I try to switch it up on them and start using slang and just the vernacular that I was using growing up, I would get laughed at because ageism, that's another stigma that I faced, because they were like, Mr. Lorias, you look like us, but you don't talk like us. Your slang is outdated. What's going on? But, you know, it's just being persistent and never taking what, you know, the kids say personally. So within like a few months, a few weeks, I began to develop real meaningful relationships with my kids. And they ended up, you know, respecting me. I'm, again, forever grateful. But again, it was tough having to maneuver through their perceived notions of like what a male teacher looks like. And Mr. Lorias is not like that. And then on top of that, he dresses funny too and wears a fanny pack.
But let's touch on that respect for a moment. Because by being real, by being the real you and going out there and saying, you're saying, I don't care about the stigma. I don't care about your perception. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to be your coach. I'm here to be your instructor. And I'm going to wear what I feel like wearing. I'm going to dress the way I want to dress. And by being real like that, instead of trying to accommodate the stigma, by being real and genuine, that's where I think you get that genuine connection and you get that respect. Even if they don't like the way you dress, the fact that you're dressing, regardless of their opinion, gets you that respect for being the real you. And I think that's something that I found out here too. I was trying to live to accommodate others' expectations, others' opinions, others' views. And I had love a lot of times, but many, many times I did not have the respect. And the reason why is because I'm not being real. I'm not being me. I'm trying to accommodate. I'm trying to fit this mold, and I'm not being my genuine self. So very cool. I just wanted to touch on that respect thing because that's a big one when it comes to masculinity. A lot of guys are like, oh, I gotta get respect, you know? So you can get respect and be yourself. You could get respect and be honest. You could get respect and be completely open in public with everything that you want to do. You probably get more respect that way than trying to fit that stigma. So
and I think that's
I just wanted to,
yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think you're absolutely right about getting the respect through the honesty, the authenticity. And I do my best to, now as a boxing coach, and now that I'm diving into the social media world and the aspects of like creating content, I do my best to create content where I am vulnerable, you know, because again, I understand that I'm labeled as a boxing coach, but I'm not your typical boxing coach, and I recognize that. And I'm learning to embrace it. Because don't get me wrong, like I'm guilty of it too when I'm like scrolling through boxing tags and I see folks who are like in better shape, all the pros that are obviously in better shape, have better quality pictures, videos, there's little like nuances like that I like have to remind myself like that's I gotta be me. I gotta allow myself to just ignore that and continue to create because someone out there is paying attention. And if I can impact just one person's life, then that was my attitude as a teacher when I was in the classroom. I said, if I was to change one kid's life or just have such an enormous impact on that kid where they're not, you know, going down that bad route, then I feel like that's a mission accomplished.
100%, man. A lot of people look at likes, right? Look at likes on posts like, I didn't get enough likes. Out of this many people, only likes. I don't view them as likes. I don't know about you. I don't view them as likes. I view them as people. I view them as human beings who have connected. So if I get one like on a post, that's one human being who connected with what I'm putting out there to try and help that person. So that makes it worth it to me. I don't need a million likes. I don't need these numbers, these artificial numbers or whatever. They're meaningless to me in that sense. I'll touch on your page. I like the content you're making. And regardless of whether or not you have $1 million equipment or a bunch of sponsors behind you or whatever, you're being genuine. You're expressing yourself genuinely in your way. You're being creative and you're putting together those video clips. I like the video clips, man. They're cool because they're informative, but they're also creative, and it's very much you. That's very much your style, your brand, if you will, of boxing. And that's where that, again, respect you're gonna come in. I respect you for doing your thing instead of trying to be like anybody else. You know? So check out, for anybody who hasn't seen it, check out the page. We pinned it there in the comment. Hopefully you can just tap it. It'll take you right to his page. Not now. Stay tuned for the show, but later. You know,
For sure.
later. Check it out. It's good stuff, man. I just wanted to say that. So
No, thank you. Again, that's probably another stigma as I've gotten older. I've had to deal with just my ability to be vulnerable because I'm an open book. I'm an open book, and I can just jump right into deep conversations, which is why I hate small talk. I can't stand small talk because it's very surface level conversations. That's why when I'm in big gatherings, I'm just there observing, you know, haha, like, yeah, whatever, you know, it is what it is. But I just like, I just don't have the tolerance for small talk. If we're going to have a conversation, then please be warned that we're trying to go in and I want deep. And I know that, again, because of just like my willingness to be vulnerable, that itself has turned off so many people in my life and who I've come across in my lifetime. And there are definitely folks where I wish I didn't open up as quickly as I did, because I see that those folks would have provided value into my life.
But instead they disconnect.
Completely disconnect.
They disconnect.
And I can't blame them, right? Because I know myself, like, sometimes there's some folks who just, like, come at me with, like, the most craziest, wildest, rawest stories. And then I'm like, whoa, like, my brother, sister, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for sharing. I wasn't expecting this. Forgive me. Give me a moment to process everything that you said, and then let's reconnect and have this conversation. But going back to stigmas, I think vulnerability is a big one, especially within our men.
Yeah, specifically.
Go ahead.
I think we were going to talk about how have you seen, that was one of our questions, how have you seen men affected by stigma around you, maybe in your classroom setting or in the gym?
Yeah.
How have you seen men affected?
My students, I don't know if it's a stigma thing, but fashion and fashion choices could be a stigma that they all faced. So if a student of mine didn't have the latest Jordans, or if they were slightly creased, you know, they would just get, I don't know, roasted. I don't know the terminology, but, you know, they get roasted or get made fun of. Sometimes kids would, not even by choice, but just because of certain circumstances, wear the same outfit for like 2 weeks straight. And I remember as a teacher, there were definitely times where I like wore the same outfit for 3, 4, 5 times out of the week because I wanted to like make it okay. Mr. Lorias, I'm wearing the same pair of pants, same t-shirt, same jeans.
That's awesome.
Obviously, like the undergarments change, but
I hope so. But but that's awesome to make that statement, to be an example, to live it. I'm all about it, man. I try to practice what I preach, and
absolutely.
You know,
and I know I knew this. Like I knew a lot of my kids, just like the school population, because we were so small, everyone knew each other, which was great.
Yeah.
And because everyone knew each other, all eyes were on me. And, you know, maybe this is me just being narcissistic and like, what's that? I forget the other term, but sure, call it what it is. But I do recognize that there was a lot of, like, people were talking about, kids, faculty, forget about it. Faculty are the worst. They were always talking about it. Like, man, look at this Mr. Lorias. That kid was going to like quit after his first year. And then there I was like 3 years. They
don't know.
So my brother.
Go ahead.
Going back.
Wherever you need to go. Go ahead.
Because I was soft-spoken, perhaps. I'm very chill. the Bronx is very loud. You got loud personalities, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I had this very soft and wild demeanor, the faculty, my first year, they were betting that I was going to quit by the end of the year.
They don't know you're a
Especially in
fighter.
special education. Yeah, and they don't know that I'm a fighter.
They don't know.
Like, I was like, these kids are what I lived through them, and they lived through me. And that's like philosophical that is. There is some truth because we were all like, we all had similar backgrounds. Like my parents are divorced. I was poor. They were poor. We didn't have access to a lot of resources. Give me a second.
Yeah, that's all right.
We didn't have access to a lot of resources. We had to work hard for our money. We never had any handouts. So, you know, like I was, you know, I already had that tough skin. So I was highly offended when I found out that staff were betting that I was going to quit. And I was just like on this whole, like, when they weren't listening, I was like, well, you know what? Fuck all y'all. I'm going to prove to y'all that I'm going to make
Let them watch. Let them watch, right?
And that's,
as you climb. Boom, 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 boom,
that's
boom.
exactly what happened. I wish them well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're extremely jealous that now I'm living my best life. And like, granted, like, Lorias Boxing and like being an entrepreneur is extremely hard. Probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do. But I bet they were very envious of just me doing my thing, especially during COVID-19. And they were like, you're doing online teaching classes.
Yeah. But you're making it work.
I'm making it work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come back to where I was, the point that I was trying to make. I know I made so many. Being soft-spoken, having a soft, calm demeanor is also another stigma that I face, just as a boxing coach, you know? And I, like, literally had an example or, like, a negative comment just yesterday on one of my TikTok accounts. Well, the TikTok account, Lorias Boxing, where I just started sharing about why should the kids, or just you in general, train with me? And like the qualities were like, I'm actively listening, I'm passionate, I'm patient, I want nothing but the best for you, and I'll like help you, I'll build your confidence. Yeah. And some commenter person was like, well, I want the complete opposite of what you're offering because I don't want my hand to be held. And
so that's not the class? That's not
the class. And I was like, all right, champ, like, good luck to you. I'm not your coach. So there are plenty of coaches who have quality, you know, like the exact opposite of what I'm offering. So go, if anything, I can help you find those coaches because there's so many in the city. There's so many here in New York City. I can, like, you know, I can refer it. So as a boxing coach, you know, like, I'm sure there are a lot of folks who are like, you know, this guy, he doesn't even know what he's doing, or he's not a pro fighter.
There are always going to be those people.
Absolutely.
The people who recognize the value in what you're providing, those are the people you want to train because they're going to appreciate it. You're going to build that genuine connection by being yourself, by being real. It goes back to that stigma. Like, we don't want to try and fit a mold that somebody else has set up for us. We don't want to meet somebody else's standard or somebody else's expectation. We're here to set the standard for ourselves, you know? We're here to set our own expectations, if we set expectations at all, because expectations are a whole other problem. But just when it comes to standards or preconceived ideas about what a coach should be, that's why I wanted you on the show. So this stigma actually works in your favor because it puts you on a platform where now you have an audience. You have a label as a boxing coach. You know, you have a label as a competitor. You did for Team USA, you have mentioned. You have labels attached to you that put you in a spotlight. As a teacher, you're in a spotlight for those kids. So now you have an opportunity to make an impact on all of those people, everybody who's watching you with that label. You could show them what that label means to you instead of what they think it's supposed to mean in society. And that's why it's good work what you're doing. And I think we're a little bit past halfway through this thing. So I just wanted to just divert, get a little more into the boxing aspect of it. So as a coach, you're here, you're training kids, you're training adults, you're the example, you're giving them instruction. I wanted to ask you, when it comes to you personally, how has the boxing training that you've done helped you deal with stigma or mental health issues that you may have faced?
Boxing, number one, has helped me with my anger.
Feel that.
And before the journaling, before the therapy, before the reaching out to friends and being vulnerable, before listening to music that makes me feel good, before the dancing, I didn't have an outlet. So the boxing gym was always my sanctuary. And during my amateur years, which again was like 7-8 years of competing in the amateurs, it really helped me just stay centered and focused, because that's all I was doing. I mean, my life literally revolved around my fights and my training regimen. So I, like my entire teenage years was just all about boxing. And an interesting part of that is that because it was only boxing, and we talked about this the first time, I started to resent the sport because I was trying to make weight, because I was fighting at extremely lightweight. I was resenting the sport because I had to sacrifice a lot of moments, like I couldn't hang out with my girlfriend at the time. I couldn't hang out with friends and meet up with them after school. I couldn't eat the way I wanted to eat at birthday parties because I had to make weight. Like during the in this hot weather, I'd be running around in a sauna suit because of my poor, I don't want to say poor, my lack of knowledge and nutrition and fitness and weight cutting, and so.
Can I expand? Let me just expand on that for a moment. That's what one of the distinctions we're trying to make through what we're doing here. It's about the training. It's about boxing training. It's not about that competitive part where when you go to compete professionally or in an amateur league, you wind up pushing yourself past a lot of limits that you have. You wind up doing damage to your body by pushing too hard. Some people can wind up with worse anxiety or worse depression because they're pushing themselves too hard. And the distinction we make here with the program that we're doing is it's about the training. It's about finding that flow zone. I'm sure you know about it, where you're in between. You're not pushing yourself to the point of anxiety. You're not taking it so easy that you're bored. You're right in the middle where you're having fun every single day. And that's the kind of training that's therapeutic for the body and mind. You get to build yourself up every single day. You never need a day off from that kind of fun progress. And I just wanted to just clarify that, because there are pros and cons to boxing, for sure. There's pros and cons to competing, for sure. But when it comes to boxing training, there are so many pros. And if you do it right, it's really hard to find a con, man. It's really hard. It's been amazing for me personally, like in my mental health, my physical health, my confidence, my self-esteem. And you talked about anger, dude. I didn't have a healthy outlet for anger until I was 33 years old, man. Like, I've been bottling stuff up. I didn't know how to express it. If I punch someone in the face, I'm going to jail, right? But I can punch this thing every day as hard as I want and get it out. And that's been life-changing to me. I don't know if you felt the same way about that release.
That's
right?
let's like pick ourselves up from the pessimistic, the cons, if you will. I want to take it back to pros. So it definitely helped me out with my anger. Confidence. Sure. I mean, I think I can't deny that boxing didn't help me with my confidence. I feel like I was already confident, but if anything, boxing really gave me that that little extra nudge.
Boost.
Where now I'm like walking around with this mentality of what you had mentioned earlier. Like I'm a fighter, so nothing scared me because I was a fighter at the end of the day. So I would apply that notion, little small things in my everyday life. So whenever I would, and more in my 20s too, but whenever I saw, someone who I was attracted to, I would think about it, I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. I don't know if I want to go and talk to her, but I don't want to live with that regret. And then, I'm like, well, you know what? You were fighter. You've like fought in front of like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
You've like had to defend yourself from someone who's actually trying to take your head off.
Yeah.
So that's, talking to someone, go ahead. So I would tell myself that, and be like, all right, cool. And then I would go and then make a fool out of myself. But it was all good because,
It's all good because you keep rolling with the punches, right?
Absolutely.
You're staying there.
Creativity. It has helped me so much for my creativity. It has allowed me to express myself as freely, openly, and passionately as possible. And I've learned to embrace that as I'm older and, using all these stigmas into a brighter light where I'm showing up to the gym with brighter colors, shorter shorts, wearing brighter soccer shoes, and just simply having fun, right? Like, I think that's the beautiful part about just using boxing as my form of just creativity and expressing myself freely is that I'm having fun now. I haven't had so much fun with the sport of boxing, I don't think ever, because again, like the first years was all competition, so it was very serious and like the regimen was serious. Then I was always trying to make a comeback, so I was always competing with myself. And to be honest, my brother, I think this year, the beginning of this year is where I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to have fun now.
Yeah.
I'm not competing anymore, so I don't have to worry about weight, so I don't have to put on the sauna suit or a hoodie or just some other layer to help me sweat. So again, just like my ability to express myself, to your point, the flow state is something that I was consciously more aware of as I learned more about spirituality. And so when I go to the gym now, I'm always like, I got to have at least 2-3 rounds, or maybe my entire boxing session is where I'm just concentrating on flow. And not really being judgmental or too harsh on, like, if I slip up or I do a certain weave or if I'm not throwing punches, And
let me touch on that. When you feel like you're in that flow state, how does time feel?
Oh my God, time. I mean, there's an argument that time is not real, and it's just like a construct that was created, and I lose all sense of time. I lose all track of time. I can't explain that wicked awesome feeling of being in your flow state. And sometimes you won't even hear the last 30 seconds of the round and the end of the round because you're just
you won't hear the bell. Nothing.
In it. So time doesn't really exist, and
let me pick your brain. Let me pick your brain a little more, please, man. Because we didn't. Just for anybody out there, we didn't prepare these questions. Like, I don't know what Leo is about to say before I ask him the question. So I'm just finding out too that it's the same experience. When you're in that flow zone, you're having a good time, and you lost track of time. Is there anxiety in your mind? Is there depression in your mind?
No.
You don't feel anxious or depressed, right?
No feelings of anxiety, no feelings of depression. And I'm actually thankful that we're having this conversation because not until right now, this very moment that you asked me that question, where I realized, holy shit, that's exactly why I love the sport.
That's the power, man. That's the power of the
the
tool.
Anxiety, the depression, completely gone, not even acknowledged. It's just somewhere, right? And it's
it doesn't matter.
While
It doesn't matter. It's external. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize it's that stigma. It's that external pressure from the world, society, family, religion, politics, whatever. That's what's giving us depression. That's what's giving us anxiety. Trying to fit into these boxes, trying to fit into these molds, and not being our genuine, authentic self, not expressing ourselves freely, not being creative, not having fun and enjoying life. There's no enjoyment in life when you're trying to be a robot and follow this pattern. There's no passion.
Yeah.
You can't find your passion. That's a big part of this thing too. It helped me find my passion. And now I'm pursuing it, and I'm creating it. I'm creating that life I want to live. And you're doing the same thing out there with the boxing coaching program you've got going. So
for sure.
Very cool.
Can we keep going? I can like, now I'm on fire. I can like list all
We
the
can keep going, but we've got 10 minutes. So
go ahead.
let's keep going for 5 minutes. I'll let you know. And just list off, just tell me your experience. How have you found it beneficial to you? What do you enjoy about this?
It relieves me from my anger. It like makes me forget about the anxiety and depression. We just covered that. It allows me to express myself freely. It's almost spiritual how I'm just like with myself and just connecting with every
movement.
For sure. I become a better dancer because of boxing.
Yeah.
And I feel that most people are completely unaware of the rhythm aspect in boxing and in fighting. So if you can find a good rhythm, then you're going to be a great boxer. That's why a lot of my students who are dancers just pick up the sport so quickly, because they already have that flow. They already have that good rhythm. So now it's just like, let's go to town and let's have a good time. So being a better dancer was obviously one of the benefits of boxing. I like what this person said. That's finding your purpose, luminaries in life.
Luminaries, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Because of everything, right? That's working together. The cohesiveness between the flow state, not worrying about the anxiety and depression. You're with yourself. You're one with the universe.
Yeah. Connect.
You get that, for sure. You get that clarity where it becomes very clear to you of what it is you want, of your purpose. And it's safe to say that that's what everyone is looking for.
And it's not just boxing. It doesn't just help you find your purpose with boxing. It doesn't help you find just your passion with boxing.
Oh,
it
right,
helps you find your passion in life, right?
Absolutely.
So, like, if you're a passionate singer, but you've been holding yourself back because of all this stuff, and then you start boxing, you start training, building yourself up, all of a sudden you find out, hey, I can express myself. I can express my passion. I can get respect for it. I can do it my way. And you go out and you crush it. You crush life. You take control back instead of just being caught up in this constant chaos, this constant. None of that matters. We find that out through the training. That's so cool. I'm so glad that you're on the show as my official second guest.
My brother, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here and sharing your experience. We still got a little bit of time, so we can keep going. But it's so cool to see that it's not just me. And I see it through our classes when we train people. I get feedback from them about how it's helping them in their lives. I've had people tell me it's helped them overcome addiction. I've had people tell me it's literally saved their life.
Yeah.
Just being able to let go of all the stress and pressure that they were dealing with and just fully let loose and just put it out into the bag. Yeah. And then it's off their shoulders, right? They feel that weightlessness, that freedom to just go out and get back in, start living, start enjoying life. Yeah. So I think we got some more comments. It's an important thing we all need to do in this, learning to love ourselves first, and then everything begins to fall into place. Yeah, absolutely. Has this training helped you show yourself self-love?
Oh my God, absolutely. And I wanted to I wanted to touch on that. When you were talking about how it's like perfect for singers, I like to think of myself as a very good singer and an amazing karaoke performer.
Ah, me too, bro.
Hey, so
Hey.
the boxing allows me to have that courage and that confidence to express myself freely in other avenues of my life. And I think that courage is what everyone can gain from the actual training of the sport, right?
Yeah.
Where we we worked our asses off and we trained probably harder than we've ever trained in our life, and we survived it.
Not only that, but we got stronger.
Yes, and
because
that's where the empowerment, that feeling of empowerment comes from. And that's where everyone, well, at least if anyone who's like training the sport or tries it, begins to feel like that real feeling of self-worth, which is also an extremely important thing that I talk about a lot. So because I think it like works hand in hand, right? If you start valuing yourself and start loving yourself and start seeing yourself in this high light where you're like valuing yourself just for who you are, life just begins to get really beautiful.
It does, fun. Absolutely. Dude, and you mentioned about you're putting in that work, right? You're challenging yourself, you're pushing yourself. You're going through a struggle. When you're in there, you're struggling to push yourself through that pressure. Put yourself through that ringer and put in the work, and it trains your brain to handle struggle in a productive way, a way that builds you up and gives you more confidence, makes your body better, makes your mind better, makes you tougher. It trains your brain so you can handle that stress in real life. When you go through struggles, they're not debilitative, right? They're facilitative. They make you stronger. The training on the bag makes you stronger. That's a struggle. When you walk out in life and life hits you with a curveball, it makes you stronger because you're used to it. You're used to handling it and growing through it and appreciating what you're capable of. Every time I hit a struggle, nowadays, it's all uphill. It's always, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to make myself better? Because every day, I'm struggling with the bag, and I'm getting better. So it's like it's just a beautiful process.
For sure. And Tim, and just adding on to that, right? And I think that's why at the end of the day, I just don't have no problem with being who I am and coaching the sport of boxing, right? Because the actual physical act of boxing is the challenging part. And some folks aren't used to that kind of hard work. And quite frankly, the sport is going to expose you. All of your deficiencies. And I know a lot of folks are not comfortable with being exposed, which is why I embrace my calm and soft demeanor and my patience and my ability to listen actively and to always check on you and always want the best for you, because the sport is going to kick your ass. And me as a coach, and to what you were saying, I'm the facilitator. And I'm going to facilitate a kick-ass workout where we all just come out of it on top. Stronger.
Every day.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. All right. Let's just touch on some comments here. But awesome. Beautiful words. Thank you so much. Everything falls into place. We got that on Luminaries. Maurice said, love conquers hate. Absolutely, Maurice. Every time. This is self-love that conquers hate, conquers fear, conquers anxiety. We're conquering all kinds of things out here with love, and it's self-love, and that's the most powerful kind.
Absolutely.
And then we got Karate Unity. He joined us the other day. That's my friend Chris Hansen out there doing his thing. He said his shoulders and traps are on fire from the sesh. Dope.
Hey.
That means it worked, you know? That means you put in the work and you were pushing. And when you give it 100%, you're going to get those results. You're going to get 100%. That's one of the other things this thing trains you to know, to reaffirm in your mind that when you push, you're going to get results. You're going to get progress. You're going to take it for yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter if the world's on fire. We're still moving forward. We're still getting results. We're still putting in the work and getting stronger. So we've got 2 minutes left before they cut us off.
Go ahead.
So I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show.
Okay.
I just want to thank you once again for being on here, for being open, for being honest, for being yourself and doing what you do out there. Very much appreciated. Much respect, much love and appreciation, brother. And
Likewise.
let people know, check out Leo at Lorias Boxing on Instagram. And anywhere else they can catch you, let them know.
So you can catch me, Lorias Boxing, on Instagram. You can catch me on TikTok at Lorias Boxing. There's a YouTube channel out there, Lorias Boxing, which I need to be better about updating. Tim, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show, allowing a space where we can be vulnerable and talk about very key things and just simply knocking out stigmas.
You got it, man. Thank you. This is important stuff we're doing out here, and it's making a serious impact in people's lives. So,
yeah,
you know, it's all good. It's all mutually beneficial. That's how we roll nowadays.
My brother, again, thank you.
Yep, that is it. It's time for us to punch out against depression.
Hey, let's do it.
Catch you next time.
My brother.